So now we are going to go to a panel discussion, and I'm going to be introducing the different members of the panel. But before I do that, can you get somebody to assist with the chairs, put it in the middle? Thank you. All right. So we're going to start. I hope all the panel members are here. We're going to introduce all of them. So our first panelist, his name is Jarmuz. I really hope I pronounced that correctly. He is a general partner at Lightning Ventures and is focused on investing in Bitcoin companies. His goal is to evangelize and demystify early stage investing to plebs and whales alike. Let's call on stage Mr. Jarmuz. There you go. Okay. Maz, do I call it Maz or Mike? Maz? Alright, thanks Maz. Have a seat. Alright. The second panelist is a crypto investor, previously with Sequoia Capital, where he led their crypto practice in Southeast Asia. He is passionate about leveraging crypto to solve emerging market problems. Let's call on stage Augie Ilag. Is he here? He probably partied hard last night. Is he here? Okay. If anyone knows where Augie is, can you call him up here on stage? I'll call on our third panelist. He's the founder and managing director of HCM Capital. He's an enthusiastic Bitcoiner and has been investing across the space for years. Jack currently sits on the board of Abra and FigureTech. He is previously a board director at Galaxy Digital, FNCon, and many others, and is an early investor of DCG. Mr. Jack Lee spent over a decade at Foxconn Tech Group, and he's currently on a mission to bring Bitcoin to people's side. Mr. Jack Lee. Thank you. And another panelist is the founder and CEO and CIO of Mimesis Capital, a multi-strategy family fund with focus on generational wealth transfer. Mr. Louis Liu. All right. And let me call on our moderator for this panel. He is a Bitcoin podcaster and a head of education at Swan Bitcoin. Let's welcome Stephan Livera. Stephan, I'll give you the mic.
Thank you. Hello. Okay, all right, great. So, by the way, how long do we have for the panel? I'm not sure the time. Do you know?
25 minutes.
Okay, let's do 25 minutes. All right, let's do that. So, we've got a fantastic panel. We've got a great lineup of people. We're going to be chatting a little bit. Oh, 45 minutes. Okay, gotcha. Okay, so, yeah, we'll be talking about a range of things. So, I thought, it might be interesting to just start with, I think for a lot of people, when they're first coming into Bitcoin, they're maybe not sure about the right way to get exposure, right? And that's a common thing where people think, oh, do I need to be doing Bitcoin mining? Do I need to hold Bitcoin companies? Should I buy Bitcoin public mining stocks, right? So this is like a common thing where people are not sure of the right way to get that exposure. If you guys want to just start with a little bit about how you're seeing that, and how would you explain that to people who are new to the space, that they should I just be holding Bitcoin, right? Isn't that the obvious way to get exposure?
Okay, so for us, for Mimesis Capital, we practice basically two strategy for Bitcoin. So the first strategy is so we actually buy and hold Bitcoin. We don't do much trading. We don't do it at all. We just buy it. And then the second strategy is what the panel is about. It's actually investing in the Bitcoin ecosystem. So I'm one of the early, investors who understand the investment philosophy behind investing in the Bitcoin ecosystem. So I'm not into like share coining, pop and dump scheme, and that's all the crypto investors who are doing that. I'm more focused on building infrastructure, investing in entrepreneurs that want to build infrastructure. And for those who want to get into Bitcoin, I think buy and hold Bitcoin is the best way to do it. And the second is how you're gonna, adjust your risk, right? Are you going into more entrepreneurship, or are you going to invest in the company or mining company? So that's always risky, right? Because startups can go bankrupt, startups can go away. But if you buy and hold Bitcoin, I think that's a pretty good long-term strategy.
Should a Bitcoin company investor expect to outperform Bitcoin, or is it just more like how do you guys think about that? Is it more like you have you have a position in Bitcoin, but you also, let's say, position in different Bitcoin companies, and I guess it also depends what kind of entity you have. Maybe some entities are designed for investing in companies, right? Jack, you?
Yeah, very similar to what Louis said. I think since after I understand Bitcoin, I think this is the very valuable asset we can own nowadays in our era, which is is the really great opportunity in the, even you can say, in the human history. Previous several hundred years ago, when people found, or maybe even longer, found gold, similar like that. But we are in the digital era, so owning Bitcoin, discovering Bitcoin, and then owning Bitcoin, I think this is the very worthy thing to do for your time and also for your asset. So this is the foundation of my philosophy. So time and asset, right? Assets mean, of course, your own asset, and also like the venture capitalists, we can also own other people's money, right? So let's talk about time and asset. The time is that since we know Bitcoin is good, however, still so few people know about Bitcoin. So I'm devoting my time to educate more people, also to bring more people, more good people to my team, and then to train them, and also do more education, either with online podcast or writing article about Bitcoin. Anyway, what we try to do is that to use our time to teach people about Bitcoin worldwide. The second is that the asset. You can either just put most of it, let's say 100% or 99% or whatever percentage of your asset into Bitcoin, right? Because it is a very valuable asset. Maybe it will be the best return, just like Michael said, he like to tweet that kind of, right? Compared to S&P, compared to gold, right? Over the last 3 years, what's the percentage? Yeah, you can see Bitcoin is outperform other assets. Therefore, we believe this will still go much higher in the long term. So putting your money or asset in Bitcoin definitely that's very, very good choice. As for us, as I mentioned, since I think I have over 20 years corporate experience, investment experience, I've been seeing the business for so long. So I also dedicate part of my time and to because I like to see and help entrepreneurs succeed, right? So I also dedicate my time and also with some asset of us, or the asset we manage it, to invest in the Bitcoin company, okay? Either early stage or growth stage, or even sometimes we are thinking to incubate, right? To help people, to help entrepreneurs, to grow their business. So this can maybe, for example, like say we invest in the American company or Latin American company, they can also help the entrepreneur, the project, can help to grow those market and for more people to use Bitcoin, to adopt Bitcoin. So anyway, this is all my philosophy of how to allocate my time and asset. So in summary, to put quite a good percentage of asset into Bitcoin, and also to allocate some some money to help entrepreneurs, and also after investment, help them to grow, help them give them more resources to connect to build. I think this is what I'm doing, and also I believe I will continue to do for the next 5 to 10 years.
Fantastic, and I think maybe Mons, if you've got anything to add there, and I know this is something you're really good at, and which you did recently as well, is to explain the different stages of investment. I think that might be useful for people as well.
Well, I think that there's one thing that there's a few things that we all agree on here, and one is you can never have too much Bitcoin. So if you, and by the way, it's amazing here. I mean, what Pouch has done in such a short amount of time, and the merchants and everything. I downloaded the app last night. I got some sats from Stephan, and they're in pesos there in the wallet. And if you don't have any Bitcoin, you have to buy Bitcoin first, right? And then you have to learn about custody and exchange risk and be safe with your Bitcoin and set up a purchasing plan and get on board, get off zero, right? The Bitcoiner says. So we all agree on that. You can never have too much, all right? And you want to get some. And I think we can all agree on another thing, which is investing in Bitcoin mining is a great way to lose a bunch of money, especially if you don't understand Bitcoin, right? That's what everyone thinks. It's, oh man, Bitcoin's going to be great. And instead of just putting a little bit into Bitcoin, they go out and do some stupid mining investment that doesn't work, right? And I'm not talking about a hobby miner, right? I ran one in my New York City apartment. I can't believe my wife let me do it, right? It was so hot and loud. But that keeps up your technical chops, right? I wanted to learn how to plug in a miner and have some fun, right? That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about going out and buying some mining contract or some hosting thing in another place, or spending a considerable amount of money on a bunch of expensive equipment. Don't do that for sure. So, and then, just like anything, when you want to invest in companies, you have to start with small amounts of money, right? You have to get started. There's a big education, right? So you have to learn Bitcoin first, and then only maybe sometime in the future you can think about a few other investments. Like maybe if you saw Pouch, an opportunity to invest in Pouch on some Philippines or Southeast Asian crowdfunding site, maybe in the future, and maybe you got an email and wanted to invest a couple $100 and have some fun. That might be a great thing to do with a little bit of money when the time is right. But right now, I think everyone's in a serious accumulation phase for Bitcoin. And the question was, are these going to outperform the price of Bitcoin? If we didn't believe that, we wouldn't be up here. We wouldn't be up here doing what we're doing. So supporting founders, entrepreneurs, helping teams, rolling up your sleeves. Mary had some great ones there. I mean, the things with Thunder Games, Azteco was in that last presentation. I mean, these are companies, against Corey from Swan, these are companies we've all invested in or work with or give our time to, okay? But we've also been in Bitcoin for quite a while, and that's what we do. That's our job. So you never want to sell a bunch of Bitcoin to invest in some magic beans or some miners or anything like that. But maybe you want to learn about angel investing, and maybe you want to focus on early stage technology investing in the Bitcoin space. And you do that with small amounts of money, and it takes years and years. So I think in summation, just buy Bitcoin and learn a little bit about investing as you go.
And Mons, would you mind just for maybe people in the audience who might not be familiar with the stages of investing, if you could just explain a little bit about that? I know there's something that you've been focusing on as well.
So Jack here probably has the largest check size of any of the Bitcoin VCs out here. I know. Well, it's the truth. No, it's the truth. And former shitcoiner. But you have these early stages, right? Maybe it's KG is coming up later. He's in the room somewhere from Machimpura, or Ethan from Pouch. These are very early stages. Okay, maybe pre-product, maybe pre-revenue. Maybe they have an idea, or they have some, very stealth early beta project. They want to go into an area of the world where maybe Bitcoin's not super friendly. They have to get around some regulations to be able to operate. So there's a lot of risk in those early stage investments, and there's of course a lot of reward, right? So there's some people who really look for those big opportunities, right? They want to be the first money in a very early round, and that is of course the most dangerous for I'm not sure if Jackson will cover it in his presentation, but most of his companies that he's invested in are later stage, right? So if you're investing in a Swan Bitcoin or maybe Unchained Capital or one of these companies at this point in time, something that's already worth a couple $100 million, it still can go to zero, but it's less likely, right? So what's the upside if you invest in something that's already worth, $500 million? It's much safer, but you don't get that big bang, right, on something that might be worth $2 or $3 million that has the same outcome. So there are certain VCs that focus on really early stage stuff, right? They just want those early opportunities right at the beginning. They want the big Babe Ruth effect, the home runs. And then there are some people in the growth stage or later stage. They invest larger amounts. And they're okay with not getting 2,000 times their money, but it's much safer. And there's a lot of corporate governance and control and board seats and all these kind of things that happen. And then there's all stuff in the middle. So, everyone has a different area that they focus on. Some people are just looking for pre-seed to Series A, maybe. Some people are looking for the growth and later stage kind of pre-IPO stuff. So I think we all are just mainly looking for the best Bitcoin companies throughout the world, but we have different focuses between them.
Fantastic explanation by Mark there. Thank you for that. I think that's really great context for people just to understand a little bit about where we are now. We haven't heard from Augie, so I'm going to get you to weigh in on your thoughts. Can you just give us some of your opening thoughts on how you're seeing investing in Bitcoin companies, and maybe you could explain a little bit about what stage you're focused on?
Yeah, no, happy to. Apologies for joining late. Maybe quickly to introduce myself. My name is Augie. I'm a partner and head of Asia at a crypto fund called CMT Digital. Prior to that, I was with Sequoia Capittal. I was the crypto lead for Asia Pacific. Not much to add beyond what the other panelists have shared. I think maybe just to talk about the asset class in general, given the question was, how do we think about our performance in venture, Bitcoin companies specifically versus the underlying VC. I just reiterate the point. I think venture is a very risky asset, and I think tends to only work because you have a portfolio of bets, right? With the understanding that obviously 80-90% of these companies might go to zero, but one or two of them will go to the moon, right? So if, as a retail investor, you are not able to construct that portfolio, maybe even that's a sub-portfolio within a broader set, venture, private equity, some of these other stages that Ross mentioned, then perhaps that's not the best strategy for you, and investing in the underlying asset is the better choice though. But I think that's just one reference point to think about basic modern portfolio theory, and how some of these major money managers will think about this. It's a small allocation within a broader set of investments, and even within that small allocation, I have many bets. That's typically, at least how you would see these things constructed in traditional finance.
And so then I guess when it comes to what you're investing in, what sort of stages are you looking at in the fund you're at?
Yeah, so at CMT, we've done quite a bit within the Bitcoin ecosystem. I would say not as much as some of the other gentlemen on this panel, but we're investors in Strike, we're investors in Lightning Labs, we've done Crusoe, ACDC, some other things. But our sweet spot tends to be seed Series A, following the framework that Moss shared. So check size can range anywhere from around 500K to 2 million, somewhere within that range. So we like to come in early, and I think work with founders from very early stages, help them on the ground with building the business, and working through some of that early blocking and tackling, the tactics of startups to help them get to that next stage.
Okay, great. Now I think another interesting area might be, for all of you guys up here, what makes a good Bitcoin company investment, right? Is it a good thesis? Is it a strong team? What are some of the things that you're looking for when you're looking at a Bitcoin company? Maybe start with Lewis.
So my experience investing in early stage Bitcoin company, I usually go in pretty early. I like to identify, where's the trend at, and I think a great Bitcoin company needs to be philosophical aligned, about the future of the Bitcoin standard. I think that including acknowledge that Bitcoin is the best money in the world, and build application around the efforts, and also there's like community effort as well, like don't trust, verify, not your key, not your coin, and the decentralized aspect of the Bitcoin company also important, and I like those companies who think around that apples and build products and infrastructure around that. Sometimes it may not work out. Sometimes it may. You just have to think deeper, like what kind of product that can adopt faster and adopt by the consumer and potential go-to-market, right? So it's a little bit complex, and it's like one of the examples that I want to share is Umbro. So when I invested in Umbro, it was very early stage. They just released the OS first version. And the first time I come across the company, I didn't think sovereign device that everybody would run Bitcoin on their phone and download the OS and build those Raspberry Pi. And I think about it for a couple of days, and then I decided to write a check to them as an angel. And then what turns out is spectacular. We call it the Emperor effect, which for the Lightning people talk about it a lot, where they basically drive the only adoption for Lightning Network and occupy basically 80% of all Lightning nodes across the globe. So it will be a surprise for you, like people actually do go out there and build Raspberry Pi and download Bitcoin node for Umbro. So that's one interesting case. It's very surprising. I think most investors and people who have been in this corporate space or investor space for a long time, they have they probably don't think this is a likely outcome. But it happens in the Bitcoin world because they follow the apples, decentralized, don't trust, verify, run your own nodes.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think for people who are a bit newer, one that's part of the journey, of course, not your keys, not your coins, and another part of that is running your own Bitcoin node. And prior to, let's say, the Umbrals, the Minos, the Noddles, the Raspberry Blitzes of the world, it was a bit harder to do that. And so now that the Umbrals there, just as taking that as an example, it's common that there will be other Bitcoin applications who try to come up with a way to have their app packaged and put into some of these node packages. And so that's like an easy way to have new functionality. It's a new way to help people be more sovereign, right? The whole idea is to sort of, in years gone by, people used to say about Bitcoin, be your own bank, right? And so that's part of the message. Anything to add?
Yeah, one thing is at the earliest stages, there's actually not too much that you can really look at. So every VC it has different theses, what they're looking for, whether it's a stage or what size. Some won't do pre-revenue. If you don't have revenue, we just won't invest, right? That's their thesis. They stick by those rules. I'm very excited to talk to him about his time at Sequoia, because when you see Sequoia is investing in a company, that's like 8 people have to sit in a room and all have to say yes, okay? That doesn't happen a lot. So when you see those type of things with a founder's fund and a Sequoia and these big names, I mean, getting 9 people to agree on anything could be pretty hard, even what's for lunch, so to get them to agree, but that's their thesis, that's what they go through, right? So some VCs, they want to see a product, they want to see something built and pass that kind of idea stage, and some will just write a $25,000 check to somebody with an idea. Maybe they were a former founder before, maybe they did something, so there's a lot of people who will just write those $25K checks for the ideas and then don't. So nobody has really their own, nobody's theses are the same for what they invest in. Everybody looks for different things. I'd love to see a product live with some revenue, right? You put that on a point and line chart over the past few months, and you can look at month over month growth and whatever KPIs the company's measuring. Is it how much time people are playing games, or how many different of those games do they play, or whatever the growth rate is, right? So I like to see something done. I'm not the founder with the idea, let's go ahead and invest. That's not my forte. That's not for me. Maybe these other folks are a little bit more comfortable at that stage. But the point is when you just come up with an idea or you're in those very early stages, there really isn't much you can look at. You know, maybe there's an early pro forma of a cap table that's got almost no information on it. Maybe there's, you can certainly talk with the founder and go through an executive summary. Maybe you have a technical person on your team who can review certain parts of the code and look for certain things. But at the earliest stages, there really isn't too much that you can look at.
Yeah, for investment, in my experience, I think over a decade, investment is the easiest thing to do in the world. And also, it's the most hardest, most difficult thing to do in the world, right? If you have money, then you spend that money, that's so easy, right? But then maybe you won't get a return. But indeed, this is the most difficult thing to do in the world. So that's why, when I look at the Bitcoin space, right, it's still early, right? Need more adoption, need more people be educated and aware, and because especially we are living in the afternoon hours of such this presentation. But we are living in this kind of authoritarian regime, getting more and more, right? Censorship or surveillance, right? Control, right? How can we have more people to get aware about the good things about Bitcoin, about individual sovereignty, to own your asset, right, etc. So I think we are in this kind of phase of Bitcoin adoption. So I agree with Louis that you just said. I think for the protocol, yes, I think we definitely, I think VC, especially early stage VC, need to back those development. I think the technical side, yes, we also need that kind of growing the infrastructure. However, on the other side, I still treat the Bitcoin adoption. I think Michael said or somebody said before, Bitcoin is the monetary revolution more than the technical revolution, more than the technology revolution. Bitcoin is the more monetary or financial revolution. So therefore, I think still we will be more looking forward to those internet type of company, internet or mobile internet type. For example, like Uber 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago, and Airbnb, and then in China maybe like Alipay, and like PayPal even longer time ago. So because of those companies has a strong, of course they have a good VC back, but in the early stage, at least I believe they have a strong execution, right? To have more merchant, more consumer use their product to try. Especially now we talk about Lightning, right? Lightning payment. I think there's two. I will separate two aspects. One is payment. Now since Lightning is almost ready to get more experimental, get more people, more network, like Pouch with Stripe, right? Pay global, send global, that kind of thing. I think also more local merchant will try. So payment, and also the other side is the Bitcoin like self-custody. Think about not only wallet but also asset management, right? How to help people, individual, high net worth, institution, corporate, to keep Bitcoin in a secure and the right way, to allocate some of their asset under management into Bitcoin. I think that's a lot of things to do. So in summary, payment and how to acquire and store Bitcoin. This can be a two big area to be get more mass adoption. So as I mentioned earlier, like the internet early days, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, if we can see that kind of company, right, with strong execution capability to bring the network effect, I think that will be a good area to look at for the coming few years.
Yeah, maybe just to add, I mean, for the seed stage, I personally try to keep it pretty simple when it comes to frameworks. Like I primarily look at the team, the market, opportunity, and I always try to find some unique insight or way that the founder is tackling this problem. And I guess the reason for that framework, as was mentioned earlier, is in the earliest stage, seed, right, or even angel stage, some of the places where you guys might be investing, there's so many unknowns, right? You can drive yourself crazy. Oh, there's no business model, there's no product, there's no tech, there's no this. And so my philosophy, at least, is you get the smartest people, you aim them at a very large market, and they have some unique angle to the problem. That is enough at the very earliest stage, and a lot of the other building blocks will hopefully slot into place. I mean, that is the framework by which I invested in Pouch, for example. Not to put the team on the spot, but I think it's very much an outlier team, super strong in tech and products, but also with a very personal attachment to the problem they're trying to solve, which will drive them when times get tough. Two, the remittance market, especially in the Philippines, is absolutely massive. $30 billion plus, mostly going after or through traditional offline channels, Western Union, very predatory rates, 7% plus in certain instances. And finally, a unique insight, at least according to me, is where we're sitting now, right? I think starting with Boracay, a place where lots of foreigners come, they have a unique need of transacting or let's say converting from their home currency into the domestic currency, but not necessarily the access of local e-money providers like Gcash, Payment, etc. And so starting here, while it may not be the target segment, I think is a good beachhead and a unique twist on the problem. So that's how I think of it.
Yeah, that's some great insight there. I think it adds a lot of color to why do this? Why this specific company as opposed to others out there? I think it would be good to talk a little bit about some of the trends that all of us are seeing, potentially from a technology perspective or even a macro and an economics perspective. What are some of the big trends that you see driving Bitcoin or Lightning theses for us?
So I think right now the biggest trend is banking crisis, and it doesn't happen, doesn't happen in like a day or two. It happens like once in a while, right? So since 2008, we never have like a huge banking crisis, like assets like equivalent to like 200 billion or even more. SVB Bank, right? It just collapsed in a day. That doesn't happen normally. So without diving into the details, I think the banking system has a deep struggle, and that is going to ripple effect across the globe, starting with the US and then Europe and then probably Asia. So I was talking about a more micro perspective, like why Bitcoin in this Storm is a safe haven, even though it's still very volatile in prices. But it has the fundamental, it has the attribute to become a hedge, during those crises. Especially when you come across counterparty risk, right? Your money in the bank is not your money; it's actually a bank holding the money and invest like a hedge fund, and they don't even hedge. Because they know the Federal Reserve Central Bank is going to bail them out. So we are in a very interesting cross moment. And in 2008 and 9, when Bitcoin launches, there isn't a lot of infrastructure or application being built or any exchanges being built. And now, fast forward to 2023, we have a banking crisis bigger in 2008. And we have the old infrastructure and exchanges and the funnel to help you to guide you through buy Bitcoin, self-custody. All the companies that we talk about are right in the center of this crisis. So that's the general trend I'm seeing. I think every Bitcoin company should benefit from this banking crisis. And when Bitcoin price go up, become like a de facto safe haven asset. That's my view.
And something I might just add in, even from our perspective at Swan, we've seen customers coming in who are calling in and they're calling up our Swan private team and asking and saying, yeah, I do want to hold some Bitcoin, because just the fact of being able to hold some wealth outside the system, it's becoming slowly, it's gradually, then suddenly, right? There's a lot of people out there who maybe they're not really aware about this. They just kind of hear, they might see on the news, oh, I heard the government backstop them, so it's okay, isn't it? Well, maybe not, right? Jack, do you have anything to add?
Okay, yeah. I think these are catalysts. Maybe this year will be the whole banking financial situation will be a very good catalyst. Let's think about, okay, what happened in the last 2 weeks, right? That the number 2, number 3 largest bank failure in United States history. Okay, the signature bank, SVB and signature. So will this kind of thing be stopped? Let's say in a few weeks or few months, or will be even go bigger, like a 208. The Lehman Brothers thing happened. It's not just 1 week or 2 weeks, but it lasts for almost a year, right? Up to like even early 2009, the government bailed out. So 2023, of course we know what caused this happen. Maybe I will talk more in the afternoon as well. So let's see if this is just the beginning of this financial crisis. Then US, right, the largest financial market, right, the US government. Now if this time, if America really become Argentina, let's say, then I think this will trigger the Sunday, gradually the Sunday can happen for the mass Bitcoin adoption. Very likely. So that's why I keep telling people, be prepared, right? Even startup, get prepared, right? I think I see this coming. So in conclusion is that I think we need all this kind of this happen. However, because of given the central authority, right, the Fed, the inflation, printing money thing, I think it's getting worse and worse. So I think those catalysts happen as a big failure continue, then I think the Bitcoin adoption will accelerate. Yeah, that's my view.
So companies like Pouch, like BitNob, like Coin Corner, like Neutron Pay, everyone's been talking about remittances forever, right? Remittances, take down Western Union and Wise and all these kind of things, right? And it's like, well, who's going to be the one to do it? Right? Who's going to be the one Bitcoin company that's going to take down global remittances? And it's not going to be one. It's all of them together. It's many different Davids versus the Goliath. So Strike's Send Global feature that they released, they partnered with BitNob in Africa. They partnered with Pouch here in the Philippines. Okay, what they did on stage today, okay, sending those US dollars, okay, over Lightning, and that person receiving Philippine pesos on their phone right here live, okay, permissionless, done in an instant, okay, that's huge. That is huge. That is a mind-blowing moment, okay, and it's all brand new. So it's all of these pockets of the world where people might not even really know anything about Bitcoin or anything about Lightning or whatever they're doing, but they know they have to send money back home where they live, and they know that this is cheaper and it's faster, and their nephew's kid told them, do it this way, so that's what they're going to do. And it's all of these companies kind of coming together. And I personally am really excited about remittances and these type of things. And it's not that there's one new Western Union. There's not a Bitcoin TransferWise, okay? It's everyone together. And I think Visa's market cap is probably $300 billion. I don't even know. So there's a lot there, that companies like Pouch and Bitcoin Beach Ball and BitNob, they're all going after it, and there's a plan for everyone, right? It's not like everyone's fighting for these same type of markets. So personally, I'm really excited about what companies like Pouch are doing, and I think that that's going to be where a lot of the growth and excitement is in the next couple of years.
So let's think a little bit about technology as well. So Bitcoin technology, obviously most of us here, I think all of us here are fans of Lightning. It's interesting to see, for example, Lightning Address, I think is an interesting example that perhaps has enabled some of that ease of use. I'm curious if there's any particular technologies that you are seeing that you're excited about, whether it's the world of Bitcoin and Lightning. Anyone?
Log in with Lightning. Has anyone played with Login with Lightning? Has anyone done it?
Yep.
Couple. Okay. It's the coolest thing ever. Okay, the next time you have an option to log into something and it says login with Lightning, pull out your wallet, Breeze or Wallet of Satoshi or Phoenix or maybe Blue Wallet, and log in with your Lightning wallet. It's the best experience compared to this 2FA sort of nonsense and authenticators and whatever the hell's going on there with all that. I don't even like any of that stuff. But you can't pull out your wallet and log in. So I'm excited about that.
I'm with you there. I think it's such a improved user experience. And for people who haven't played around, there are sites like LN Markets or Collider and some other ones where you can do this login. I think Stacker.news also has login with Lightning, so you can log in with Lightning, and it's actually a really slick experience. And I think, I was talking to, as an example, I was talking to a guy who runs kind of like a crypto gambling site, and I was just showing him, hey, imagine if you had log in with Lightning, right? Because especially in the gambling context, people, they want that they want to be able to instantly log in, instantly deposit, instantly withdraw, and with Lightning, you actually can do all of these things. So I think we're just really early that a lot of these people who should know, the people who could profit from this, don't even know and aren't even aware about this yet. So that's just an example. Anything else you guys want to highlight from a technology standpoint in Bitcoin or Lightning?
So I think Auster is interesting. Auster and Lightning and Bitcoin combined together is interesting. Maybe some of you guys already use Jarmuz, right? Toaster, Puppy, private key. I think that concept is very similar to Bitcoin. And, in social media, it's a gigantic market. And if you can solve the problem of spending and, advertisement spending, right? And I think that's a huge potential. Kind of like becoming a trend, right? Within the Bitcoin community. And I would love to see is how does it grow outside the Bitcoin community and, affect, other people, normal people that have no exposure to Bitcoin and come to the Nostr. And maybe Nostr itself as a social media platform is going to orange pill, the people who haven't had Bitcoin. I saw people on the Nostr, they don't really know Bitcoin and they just set up a wallet, right? And somebody just zapped in some Satoshi and now they become a Bitcoin holder. I think the widespread effect, the network effect of Nostr has bring Bitcoin tremendous volume, or vice versa. Like Bitcoin has given Nostr a tremendous economy volume. So that's what I think excitement is and where the trend is now.
That's a really good point. Go on, Jack.
Yeah, following Louis say, I think for remittance, for example, especially remittance, yes, there's several hundred billion market to tap out on the legacy financial system for Lightning because can do much faster immediately and also save the middleman, the SWIFT, those costs. Yes. However, I'm also thinking just like Louis said, I think those new applications to which we haven't, for remittance, yes, save cost, save time. Definitely is the market to attack on the legacy. On the new one, which the traditional financial or fintech cannot solve, I think that's really exciting. For example, Nostr is combining the social media or messaging with the payment integrate together. So this kind of experience never happened before without or before the Lightning. And also we can think about in the coming near future. I think that's also one of the very important features Lightning can be applied for adoption. For example, I think it's extremely. Looking forward for the streaming thing, like a video streaming. Instead of you pay $10, $15 for YouTube channel, but you pay Satoshi by second. You pay Lightning, maybe integrate with the content you subscribe to. Since the subscription economy is become the mainstream nowadays, right? Even Twitter group, right? So However, instead of a monthly subscription, annual subscription, you can pay as you go, right? Depends on how much content you watch, you use, that it streaming your size, right? By second or by minute, for example. And also, like I heard about Lightning can also enable the splitting, invoice splitting. I think this could be a very good use case for B2B, especially like the supply chain, even for C, like splitting the payment, right? After dinner, something like that. And also, especially for B2B. So that it can avoid the counterparty risk, right? When you pay to the supplier, pay to the supplier, you can split all the things immediately to the optimal receiver. Therefore, there's no counterparty risk in between after pass through, something like that. So I'm quite excited and looking forward to more this kind of adoption can be applied because of the new technology, because of Lightning.
Yeah, maybe I agree with everything that's been shared. I think one other thing to add, as a recovering shitcoiner, that I was pleased to see it. I don't know if I'm still being a landmine here, but I'd be actually very curious to hear from the rest of the panelists. But I was very happy to see some of the activity around NFTs in Bitcoin. If for no other reason, I think it represents sort of a softening in the what has historically been a very divisive discourse between these two camps, Bitcoiners and shitcoiners. And like I said, as a recovering shitcoiner, I think that's great. It's recognition of the fact that there is innovation happening on both sides. There is things that can be borrowed from both sides, and I don't know that there's more that binds us together than that separates us. So that for me was a positive thing, but I'd be curious to get other people's views on it.
I'm probably against, but I see it like something that should be discouraged, but I also recognize I can't stop it. So that's kind of where I'm at with NFT or ordinals and inscriptions. I know I can't stop it, but yeah, I'm not really a fan. But that's where I'm at.
Yeah, so I'm a Bitcoin art collector, right? But I'm not really into NFT, and I think the ordinal stuff that happened on Bitcoin network is the surprise, right? Basically, we upgrade to Taproot, and then the side effect happens. It's an accident that we can enable this data description on the Bitcoin network. Does it have a lot of market potential in the future? I think that's we can debate. But personally, I think we should better utilize the Bitcoin network as more like settlement system, payment system, more for economy activity rather than people just junk. They call it art, but it actually fill out the entire mempool. But that's in the past, right? We saw the trend going down and basically not recovering. So I think that's debatable. But yeah, I personally think if you love art, you don't have to collect NFT.
Anything else? Any you guys want to?
So it's cool because all innovation is always done with Bitcoin. And this ordinals sort of thing is just an example of that, right? Because NFTs were created with Bitcoin. Okay, they're rare Pepes, all right? But, Bitcoin's too busy being like the most important thing on the planet that, Ethereum built all these slick wallets and all these other things. So I think it's really cool that that's coming back to Bitcoin now. And the block space, it's scarce, right? And it's for everyone. So if you want to get married today and put that in the op return and have that be out there, that's your right to do so. So I disagree a little bit. I think it's cool to see that artists coming back to Bitcoin and these other sort of use cases that are happening. And it's certainly exciting for the artists, right? Because now they have something other than Ethereum and all these other sort of things. So all the innovation, anything that these other sort of coins and protocols and whatever that say that they're going to be able to do will eventually be done on Bitcoin. And I think this ordinal is just an example of that.
Okay. Yeah, my final comment. I think the most important thing is that Bitcoin is going to be the global reserve currency or global reserve asset. is separate. Money is the government, right? I think this is the most important trend to see, where see. And before reach that, along the journey, then there's a lot of innovation, like I mentioned, NFT, whatever. I think it's always good to try, good to be tried, right? Either some people succeed, or it's just a bubble, or whatever, or maybe it's a bubble, right? I think it was encouraging and worth it to be tried because, like I said, right, people will know about Bitcoin. So I think the optimal, the most important mission of a Bitcoin is to be the global reserve currency. As for altcoin, indeed, I don't care too much because I believe, maybe some idea of Bitcoin, like you just mentioned, they got that kind of inspiration from shitcoin or altcoin. And it's okay to try. Anyway, that's my view. But because of altcoin or shitcoin, I think they can only become project. Yeah, good to say that maybe it can become another next Google, but that's not the money. Right? So it's a totally different thing. The Bitcoin is the money, is the reserve asset.
All right, gentlemen. Well, thank you all for sharing the perspectives, and I think we've probably got to wrap up anyway. I don't want to run over. So everyone, put your hands together for our panelists.
Wow, thanks so much, everyone. Wow, I learned so much from that, and it felt to me like, I don't know if you guys got the vibe of like a Shark Tank. Anyone want to propose? Like, maybe we should keep them up here. And then, if you guys have a 1 minute pitch, this would be a good time to do it.